Hey y'all, welcome to Keeping It Real Estate with Kristen. I'm Kristen Goyette and I'm a mortgage loan officer with Motto Mortgage Complete in Goldsboro, North Carolina. And I'm super excited about my special guest today, Miss Lia Nichols. Lia is a realtor with Legacy Builders in Goldsboro, North Carolina. And she's a dear friend of mine and she wears many hats, but you'll learn about that soon. And just to let you know, our goal with this podcast is just to enlighten our listeners about all things real estate. And there's a lot to cover. So, with that being said, I want to welcome my sweet friend Lia.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Lia.
You're welcome.
And I want you to tell everybody about yourself and your journey into the real estate world.
Okay, well, I am 45 years old. I was born in Michigan and raised in New Jersey. And God sent me to North Carolina to grow me up, basically. So my journey into the real estate world, I've always loved driving around looking at houses. My parents did that with us when we were kids. And I never thought about getting into the business for whatever reason. And a friend of mine was talking to me and I kept telling her I just drive around on the weekends and I just look at houses and I wish I could go inside of them.
Right.
And she's like, well, why don't you become an agent? I was like, never really thought about it. And for a couple of years, I started considering. And during COVID, I was like, why not now? So I took the class, had a wonderful instructor, passed the exam the first time. So I was like, let's just go with it. So here I am and I love it.
Awesome. I know. I always tell my friends and family if I'm ever in a car accident, it's because I'm busy trying to look inside people's houses.
Right.
I'm the same way. I love houses. I just love every part of it, the outside, the inside, the architect, whatever.
Yeah.
So what do you think you'd be doing if you were not a real estate agent?
If I were not a real estate agent.
Well, wait a minute. You kind of do have a couple of other things going on in your life.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. My full-time job, because I'm doing real estate part-time. So if I did not have my full-time job, I would be full-time with real estate and being my beauty consultant with Mary Kay. Those are the two things that I love. And I just enjoy helping people. So I feel like if I could do that more often, that would be more fulfilling.
Right, helping people with their home buying and
Absolutely.
their skincare. By the way, Leah's got me on a regimen. I'm trying so hard to get my skin to look flawless like Leah's.
Oh, thank you.
And we got some more parties coming up soon too that we talked about, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We got to get those on the book. So I know that you're part-time and you've got a full-time job and you got Mary Kay, but how many families did you serve this past year?
So let's see.
You don't have to be exact.
Right.
If you don't know.
I feel like I start serving as soon as people call me. But as far as closed transactions,
right?
Because you do a lot of running around and trying to help people.
That's true.
But this is March will be my first year.
Okay.
And I've been a part of 5 transactions, and 3 were my own. Where I actually started and finished with the clients. The others were referrals. So, right. Yeah.
Well, I think that's success.
Yes, it has
March
been.
I mean, you're right at your year mark, and you've had 5 transactions. And you're right. If we added in all the folks that we interacted with who don't make it to the closing table for whatever reason, yeah, we do a lot of work that we don't get paid for.
Exactly.
So we really do earn our paychecks.
Yes.
I think people see us and they think about the dollars, but a lot of, if you calculated like the dollars per hour or something, we probably don't make a lot of money. But we're not in it for the money, are we?
No. I really enjoy the feeling of being able to help somebody do something that's that important to them.
Right. And home ownership is so empowering. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about it. I bought my first home when I was 23. Mm-hmm. And, I grew up, I had great parents, but we weren't very wealthy. Mm-hmm. So I grew up in a trailer. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like, I don't know, I guess you are your environment and it's hard to expand your mindset.
Right.
And so all I ever wanted was a trailer, my own trailer. And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously.
Right.
but my husband and I bought our first house at 23, and it was just, I mean, you would have thought we won the lottery. It was that. And I think, my last show, April, was talking about, it is fun and nice to sell the bigger houses.
Of course.
Because we love the bigger houses. They're beautiful when we look at them.
Right.
But I think it, a lot of times, is more rewarding when we sell the not so expensive houses. And I was that person. My first house was $65,000 is what we paid for it.
Right.
And it was a mansion in my eyes.
Exactly.
Anyway, we spent 9 years there, and I absolutely loved living there. And I still ride by and see it. And I've told my husband, if that house ever goes back on the market,
you want it.
We're buying it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what's important, I'm sorry. I think what's important about that is when people are so appreciative of being able to buy or sell a home is what makes it more rewarding than if it's just a big house where people do it all the time. It's not a big deal to them, so it's not that much heart into
involved,
it. Right.
It feels like with some of the pricier purchases.
Yes.
And yeah, absolutely. I think we've talked about that before, and we both have a heart to really help all people.
Right.
And sometimes it is more challenging. It is more challenging for me as a mortgage loan officer to get those lesser loan amounts to the closing table because there's just so many things.
Yes.
You can't go over fees.
Right.
You want to try to help people find down payment assistance or whatever so they don't have to have so much out of pocket.
Right.
A lot of sweat, blood, and tears sometimes. But whenever they get those keys, you're like, oh, man, that was so worth every second.
Absolutely.
So I know that, again, you're part-time, but your goal is to become full-time.
Yes.
But even as a part-time agent, what do you think is your biggest challenge?
I would say mindsets of the people, really trying to impress upon people that it is important to own something of your own. And a lot of times it's just not people's desire because it's not what they grew up around. Like you said, it's not their environment. It's not what their family is talking about or being an example of. And when you're really trying to show somebody something different, that is a challenge when they don't find it important.
Right.
The rest of the stuff, it's just going to happen. But once you break through that mindset, I think you're on your way.
Yep. And for those of us who are homeowners, we're like, how do you not want to buy your own home? And it does come with a lot of responsibility, but I think it comes with a lot of reward, and
absolutely,
that's where it's at. And plus, like you said, you're building equity. So I kind of feel like when you own a home, you're kind of paying yourself when you're making that mortgage because you're building that equity, and you can use that for whatever. If you sell your house, you can make more money, or you can. If you're having hard times, you can cash out your equity and use it for whatever you need. People send their children to college off their home equity. They consolidate debt. They add on to their home, make it bigger. There's all kinds of things that you can do with the equity in your home.
Yes.
But I personally understand that mindset breakthrough. And so, but anyway, I know together we work really hard trying to help those mindset shifts.
Yes.
So tell me like I told April, all of our closings are success stories. We're always super excited to get there. But what would you say is the one that touched you the most? That's the way I need to start wording it. Which one touched you the most?
Well, since I don't have a whole lot to choose from, I'll have to say my very first one. And maybe that's because it's still so fresh. And because it was really close friends of mine.
Okay.
And the way it happened was like amazing. They found me at my other job. We had run into each other. And I was talking to her about, I'm thinking about taking my real estate exam. She was like, really? We're thinking about possibly, selling our home and buying another one. I was like, really? She said, I'm going to wait for you. So I was like, goodness. Really?
Yes.
And they did. And they were my first clients. And we sold their home. Well, no, first they bought a home. And then they worked on that one. Then they sold their home. And then they were able to move in. And it was just like, it was a great experience. Being able to do what I love, find out how much I actually love it, and help some friends. So
absolutely, it's always a little better when you do know the people. I feel like it's like a lifelong story that we're going to talk about forever. About that time I helped you sell your house or buy your house.
Absolutely.
Now, what do you prefer, being the listing agent, the buyer's agent? I mean, I know you probably don't really care, but do you have a preference?
Work-wise, my preference would be listing, but the more rewarding, I think, is the buying side.
Right.
Because especially when you search and search and search for that right home and something that they really want, and when they get what they really want, that's great. Selling, I guess maybe because of the market, selling it is great, but it's not as hard to sell as it is for somebody to come along and buy.
Because the business is coming to you.
Right.
You're not having to go get the business.
Yes.
That makes a little less effort involved. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, it's fun to try to, when you're listing, to go get the business as well, because that's a part of helping them to sell the house, but it's not something we have to do. So.
Right. So Goldsboro market is still pretty hot. I mean, houses are not sitting on the market in Goldsboro.
They're not. And I think people feel like it has slowed down a lot, but the houses are still going because people are still wanting to buy.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Every day I feel like I'm getting several phone calls, which is great.
That's great. Yep.
But so if you had a first-time home buyer come, and we do, you and I have had a lot of first-time home buyers that we're trying to
help
do that
out.
mindset shift and stuff with. But what advice do you offer? Maybe do's or don'ts. Or...
Yeah, my first advice is don't listen to friends who are not in the market or in the industry at all, that have just heard things on the news, or they're going off what they think is happening because social media tells us everything.
Right.
And I would say, do talk to somebody that's in the industry. Talk to your real estate agents. Talk to your lenders. Find out where you really are. Like for me, I know it was a lot of fear involved for me to take that first step because I was like, there's no way I can do this. Right. But instead of sitting back thinking about what you think you can and can't do, you need to talk to somebody and really find out what you can do.
Speaking of taking that first step, I can remember so good buying my first house. And back then, we didn't have the internet and all that good stuff. So the lender was calling me. They were needing paperwork for this and paperwork for that. And I was having to make copies of stuff and fax it and run and call her. Did you get it? I mean, it was just such a tedious process. So it is a hard step to take.
It is.
The very first time.
Yes.
Now I'm all about buying a house. And we have a realtor friend here in Kinston, and she's helped us buy 2 homes and sell 2 homes. And I always, when I see her, I'm like, I'm about ready to buy again and sell again.
She's like, come on.
Lord have mercy. She's like, girl, you are crazy. So you're a homeowner.
Yes.
Which is always nice. I think it's important for us in the real estate industry to be homeowners.
Right.
Tell me about your home buying experience from your perspective. Did you have a good realtor? Did you have a good lender?
Yes. So my first time buying a home was actually right after I got out of my course and passed my exam. I had not joined a firm yet, but I knew where I wanted to go. Right. So I talked to that team. And, hindsight, I know I could have done it on my own, but I was like, I don't want to mess anything up, especially with myself.
Right.
So one of my friends, she was my agent. We're on a team together now. And she was really good. As a matter of fact, she didn't just help me buy a home. She was like instructing me along the way, like, this is what you're going to have to do, when you get in the business. So that was great. My lender at the time, he was great because I was able to call him anytime. He was very responsive, like you are.
Oh, thank you. So
I found out, how important that is to be on both sides when you're the client and when you're the agent or the lender, to really communicate, so everybody knows what's going on. So it was a good experience, but it was scary because I was like, everything is just happening. Is it supposed to happen this smooth? Like, I was like, when is the ball going to drop? But
those are the loans we love.
Yes.
Now that you're officially on the other side, those are the loans we love.
Yes.
I actually have a realtor friend who's using me to do a loan for her personally.
Okay.
And my exact words to her were, this is so good because now you get to see what all your clients go through, because she's a fairly new real estate agent. And not that she probably hasn't ever bought a home before, but I mean, this has been super tedious from the get-go. It's not, she's not buying or selling, she's adding on. So we're doing like a renovation loan.
Nice. Okay.
And it's just, she's getting a good feel of it. Bless her heart. And I'm trying to keep her updated and hold her hand and calm her nerves. But I'm a nurse by trade,
Mhm.
and I can remember always saying it's so different when you're the patient versus when you're the provider.
Right.
And everybody, I used to always say, everybody should have to be a patient for like more than a day, like
Yes.
literally in a hospital bed, having to wait for people to do things for you, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so now I feel that way on this side of the tracks now that I'm in real estate.
Right.
But, after, shoot, I bought my first house at 23. So that was, now I'm 43. It was a long time ago. Wait a minute. I lied. I'm 42. Hold on. I'm 42. I will not be 43 to the end of this year, and I'm holding on to that.
Hold on.
But yeah, so it's been a long time, but I do remember it was a special time, and I don't ever want to forget it, and I want to make sure. That's one of the reasons why I over-communicate. I think I over-communicate with my clients, but it's because
I think that's a good
want
thing.
you to not worry what's
Right.
going on, where are we at, like you said, when's the ball going to drop, because it causes anxiety, and I don't want you to be scared while you're going through this process. It's okay, but it's tedious, as you know.
Yep.
So, tell us something fun or interesting about yourself that you haven't already mentioned in the show today.
Something fun and interesting. Well, what's fun for me, like I said, is riding around looking at houses.
Me too. Same.
And I love musicals. Like, I love Annie, Sound of Music, stuff like that. I get on my family and my friends' nerves because I will just sing the songs, like, and make them watch stuff.
Uh-oh. Can you drop a tune for us today?
For real?
Please. You never know who's watching. You might be the next big star on YouTube.
Oh.
Come on. I got you a little water here.
Please pause here. Fall out. I should sing a song from one of the movies. It's going to be really fast.
Go ahead. This is your 5 seconds of fame,
I can't
baby.
believe I'm doing
Make
this.
it count.
Wait, I can't.
This is awesome, Leah. I'm so excited.
Okay.
Give you a backstage name.
I need a church fan. Which one will I do?
Don't pass out.
I know. I could try to do it without laughing.
You can do it.
Okay.
I won't look at you.
I won't look at you. I'm gonna do the song from The Sound of Music.
Oh, right.
Which one? Not the full song.
Okay. We'll take a clip.
I better do this one because it's what's in my head. Okay. Doe, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun, me, a name I called myself, far, a long, long way to run. I'm going to stop there.
Oh, you did so good.
I just love singing musicals.
I love that.
My mom used to be like, shut up.
No, that's awesome. So what's the last musical you went to see?
I have, I think A Lion King.
Okay.
It was in Philadelphia, and it was like a musical. It wasn't just, like the regular play. That was years ago. But I do want to go to like Broadway or something one day.
Yep.
And see like a real musical.
Bucket list.
Yeah.
I've never been to a musical. I think I would.
Yeah, just that Lion King is the only one.
Okay.
Everything else is on TV.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, that is super fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in today to Keeping It Real Estate with Kristen. And thank you so much, Leah, for joining me today and letting us get to know you and your perspective as a realtor.
Yes, ma'am.
So if these guys want to reach out to you for your services, how can they do that?
You can definitely reach me through email. My email is lia.nichols@gmail.com. I am on social media, of course, on Facebook, Instagram. My Instagram is at 5star Leah. I think, that's good.
Awesome. All right, guys, check out my friend Leah for your home buying and selling needs. And thanks again for tuning in.